And I'll also be ordering plaques with a partial piece of my colon. Naturally, can't give away the whole colon. But
the following podcast is brought to you by Cast Content Media.
Welcome to Dixie
and the King. I'm an Elvis tribute artist, rocking the cradle with a much younger wife.
And we are coming together to figure out this thing called life.
Take this journey with us through our unique and fascinating relationship as we tackle marriage, parenting, and spirituality.
We find ways to live a better life through our experiences and learn from professionals and everyday folks along the way, and how to thrive in today's world.
And welcome back to another edition of Dixie and the King. My name is George Gray, and of course my beautiful, wonderful wife, Dixie, is here alongside the podcast that we had earlier. We kind of split duties. I came in here and talked about our trip to South Fork, Colorado, which was a lot of fun, and we look forward to maybe doing that, I don't know, maybe sometime this summer. And of course you did the Kentucky Derby hats.
Yeah, I'm not really good. I don't wear hats often. And so it was really great to have Linda Winter put outfits and hats on me that I wouldn't have normally picked out. But I got to say, she did a great job.
No, she did a really good job. And, Dixie, being a little younger, was kind of concerned that maybe some of the clothing fashions may not represent her age bracket, but in all honesty,
and that's what I told George. I said I was shocked. I would have never put on the things that Linda put on me, but after I had them on, I really liked what she had.
Did you I don't remember, did you put on any animal prints?
Yes, which are really not my thing, but like I said, it surprised me. It turned out to look decent. Yeah. She did a great job.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Of course, wearing those hats is kind of fun too.
It is fun.
Hey, we want to thank Cast Content Media for helping us with our podcast. They can help you as well. For more information, just go to castcontentmedia.com and send them a note. Say, hey, what's it take to put on a podcast? Because without them, we won't be able to do this. They supply the cameras and lights and all the uploading and editing, all that fun stuff. We also want to tell you can find us on our website, which is dixieandtheking.com, and you can contact us there by going to contact@dixieandtheking.com. Also, where else can they find us?
You can find us on YouTube and Rumble and all your favorite podcast platforms.
Yep. So what we do is after everything's all edited up, the videos get uploaded to our website, to YouTube, to Rumble, and then the audio versions of those get uploaded to a website that then kind of throws them out to Apple Music, I think.
Spotify. Yeah.
And, Cast Content Media actually has their own radio station, and we'll be talking about that probably in our next podcast. So that's going to be fun.
That's really exciting.
Yeah, so you'll be able to hear the whole family of Cast Content Media folks. And we got so many more new ones that are going to be joining us. We got a real estate agent, and we have a bail bondsman who's going to be doing his own podcast. And that's going to deal with, he wrote a book, Ditches to Riches. Ron Worley was his name. So you get ready to eyeball those as well. But anyway, so this podcast, we don't have any special guests, but one thing that we've been kind of following over this last year, and since we can say this is still April of 2021, as everybody remembers, 2020 was pretty much shut down. And that means everything, including medical. There's a lot of operations that weren't held, except for maybe the emergency ones. But there's a lot of elective that weren't handled. But more so, there were a lot of screenings did not happen. I always take part in an event that happens here in Colorado called 9 Health Fair. And what they do is through the month, I think it's in April, and just about a lot of your major cities, they hold these health fairs, and you can go in there for a very low dollar because a lot of it's sponsored by nonprofits and fundraising, but they will give you a low-cost blood screening and PSA, and just over the last several years I've been doing the vitamin D, which we're starting to find a lot of good stuff, the vitamin D.
Yeah, skin cancer screenings, which I think a lot of people aren't really good about going to the dermatologist on a regular basis.
Well, the reason we brought this up is the screenings are so important because we're finding now that preventative care, which is something, I don't know if I want the government to supply us with health care. I think inexpensive health care. I think we can work out a deal with the insurance companies because I don't want the government running anything. I want it to be a private sector. I want that competition because by the competition, you're going to be working on costs and you're going to be working on customer service and quality of service too.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is what I'd like to see is some form of preventative care because we do know that if you can catch stuff when it's small, when it's just starting, your chances of surviving are astronomical.
Yeah.
So our concern was that over 2020, there just wasn't a lot of screenings going on.
Right. And so I think, through 2020, with this COVID pandemic, it's really spotlighted our concern about our own health and our own health care. But because of the pandemic, they did shut down a lot of that preventative and elective surgeries. So we just really wanted to spotlight healthcare again, and in a different way than just focusing on the pandemic. Back in 2018,
Yep, 2018.
George had his very first colonoscopy.
Well, so I think the rule of thumb used to be that when you turn 50, you should go in and have a colonoscopy. I waited until I was, I would have been 57, almost. I would have been 58 that year, but I was 57 because it was in May of 2018. So I wasn't quite 58. So by going by that, I'm 8 years off. But after talking...
He was a little late, but better late than never, I guess.
Better late than never.
Yeah.
But now they're saying because there's a lot of colon cancers that are going on, and it's one of the most treatable and preventable cancers.
Yeah, it's actually the third leading cause of cancer death among men and women. So it's really
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And probably one of the more preventable forms of cancer if you catch it early.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we decided to go ahead and do that. But talking with the doctor, what they were saying is they're now thinking that men, and it's the same for women, I'm going to assume, should probably look at doing those in their mid-40s now. And they're also saying, she was telling me, or the doctor was saying that if you have any cancer in your family tree, particularly if it's colon cancer, they're looking at maybe doing it as early as in your mid-30s. So what they're basically looking for is what they call polyps, little polyp things. When I think of
I love your visuals are always so amazing. But yeah, and I think according to the CDC website, they're still talking ages 50 to 75 is what they're looking at, that age group, to really get screened every 5 to 10 years, depending on how your last screening went, what your family history of cancer is. Obviously, if you have a family history of colon cancer, your doctor might want you to get checked early, but I think it's just really important that you work with your doctor. Because for me, when I think about getting a colonoscopy, and I think of most people are probably like, no, thank you.
No,
but no thanks.
Yeah. I'm going to give you some tips here in just a little bit. But so we're talking about I had a colonoscopy a couple of years back, but this also falls in line with screenings for other things. A lot of cancer treatments weren't able to take place. And there's been a new study now showing that a lot of people are kind of afraid to even go to the doctor because they've had that whole time off, that they've kind of said, well, I've been feeling okay, maybe I shouldn't go. And another study is actually showing, I thought this was kind of interesting, is that the general public in the United States has lost confidence in the medical arena, which is kind of sad. We need to get back into it. But then I can also understand, because this, over this last year or so, it's just been...
there's a lot of unknowns. This was
wear a mask, don't wear a mask.
A new thing that society was dealing with, and so I think there is a lot of misinformation, people not knowing. information evolving as we went. And so I definitely understand that, and I'm certainly not one that loves to go to the doctor to begin with. Since I've had kids, I've been much better about going to get my annual exams and things like that, because I just think about it's no longer about me, right? I need to be around for my children. And so I think, especially as parents, grandparents, you can get to this place where you're like, it's just me, it's my health, it only affects me, I don't really want to go. But I think once you think about it in a different light, that it's really not all about you. You have a lot of people out there depending on you, and if you can go in for this simple treatment, and a lot of insurance pays for this preventative care, because it's a lot cheaper for them to do the preventative care than to do the care if you're sick. So, check with your insurance company, check with your doctor, follow their guidance. But I really think that it's important for us to go ahead and get back out there, get back to somewhat of a normal routine, and take care of your health, not just COVID. Your health has so much more to do than, just looking at COVID.
And I think that the COVID crisis or pandemic that we had kind of showed a light on a lot of things, is that we were not healthy. And the CDC came out and said that 78% of those people that had passed from COVID were obese.
Yeah.
So if it's one thing that it taught me, this whole pandemic thing, is that we're not a healthy nation. And so we need to get back to where we're moving. We need to get back on good diets. And we also get back into testing, go into those screenings. And I do an annual eye deal. I get my teeth cleaned twice a year. Now you do too. And those are very important, because a lot of the health issues that people have sometimes happen because you are having mouth problems, infections, and those kinds of things. So anyway, what I thought, was there anything else we needed to cover on?
No, you know what I
screenings?
did find interesting, because when you look at colon cancer and colon screenings, the one screening pops into your mind is a colonoscopy, right? Mm-hmm. And some people cringe at the thought of that, me included. Luckily, I'm a few years away from my first one.
I think you should have one just so you can say you had one.
I'm good.
You can get them little polyps, or they're still super tiny.
Anyways, I learned that there's 4 different kinds of colon screenings.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if you've ever been to the 9 Health Fair, you can get, and this also grosses me out, so can I just say that I don't do well with.
And I got one of those tests every year, and I never use it.
They give you an envelope with a swab and a
big old long Q-tip.
Yeah. So it's called a stool test, and I will just let you use your imagination on what you do with that. But you do it at home, you mail it in, they call you if there's any concerns.
And I think what they're looking for in that is for blood.
Yes.
And irregularities on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can do that. You can also, there's a flexible, oh dear Lord, I'm not even going to try to say this. Anyways, it's like a mini colonoscopy where they go in with like a flexible little tube and they do the lower third of your colon. I don't know. And then you can get a full colonoscopy where, they go up and they see all the things.
Oh, yeah. Do the whole thing.
I feel like if you're going to do part of it, you might as well just do all of it.
You don't get on a roller coaster, just go through one hill. You go on all the hills.
And then this is the one that I think I would like to do, is a virtual colonoscopy. They can actually, nowadays, do some sort of an x-ray deal where they take pictures and, yeah.
It is, and that is true. It is kind of amazing how they can do a lot of virtual thing. I think recently I was getting some pamphlets the last couple of years where they can do a virtual of all your arteries, looking for blockage and those kinds of things. So that's kind of nice, so you don't have to go up through a main artery all the way up into your heart area, which is just amazing.
Yeah.
Our medicine is just phenomenal, what they can do nowadays with scanning and anything virtual. So I went ahead and scheduled my colonoscopy according to my doctor. And of course, she was shocked that I hadn't had one. And we need to get done right away. And so, my heart's starting to pound thinking, oh my gosh, am I too late? But all my friends that have had them, and older folks that I've known that have had them over the many years, always talked about how gross it was. That they had this big old gallon of
like chalky
type stuff, and you had to drink the whole thing and that kind of deal. But on this particular colonoscopy that I did, there was 2 little tiny bottles, and I think I describe it. Now, one thing that I did do, I thought I would go ahead and document my colonoscopy, not the procedure itself.
No, don't worry.
Not the procedure itself, but just the prep of getting into that. So I thought, just for fun, since we're talking about health and preventative health, that I would show you that. It runs about 10 minutes, and it's quite
entertaining.
Yeah, it is. So anyway, here is my colonoscopy video from May of 2018. I thought I would document this wonderful experience that I'm about ready to have. Tomorrow, May 24th, 2018, I'm scheduled for a colonoscopy. Something I haven't done, and I'm a few years overdue. You're supposed to have these when you're 50, but I decided to wait so I could experience this journey in a new house. But I am scheduled to drink this. There was 16 ounces of water and then 6 ounces of some form of soup prep, I believe it's called. You mix it and you're supposed to sip it, because if you don't sip it, the likelihood of you getting sick and vomiting is great. And of course, we all love to vomit. But I wanted to do this right. Keep everything down and go through the cleansing process. Now, what's going to happen when I finish drinking this in about 10 minutes or so, I am told that the internal workings of my digestive system will liquefy, and I will eliminate soup or stew the first go around. Yes, I have to do this once tonight, and then when I get up tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., I'm supposed to do it again and allow any remnants of anything that was stuck in the intestines to make its way out, because you have to be squeaky clean. If they're going to go in there with a little camera, you have to be clean. So I thought I would document this and show, just to open up myself, a little part of my life, to those people out there that have considered, maybe possibly. It may not be the pleasant part. I guess the most unpleasant part is the prep, from what I'm told, because when you actually get in with the camera thingy, you're under. They put you under for a short period of time, lasts 15, 20 minutes. But I wanted to document this and show people that everybody should do this. You got to know what's going on inside. Preventative care, preventative maintenance. So this is something I've been looking forward to. Other than the occasional colds or flus, where you might have a little diarrhea, this is supposed to be something that is going to be, it's like a ride at Disneyland. So I'm looking forward to it. But anyway, I feel my stomach starting to gurgle, and I need to drink some more of this. I need to drink this within the hour, and I think I'll be there. I'll probably finish this for the next 30 minutes or so. And then I will sit down on the toilet, where I have all kinds of items to play with. I got my laptop, I got some photo album, and some cards that somebody recently gave me of Elvis cards, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And then, of course, I have my Bible. And I figure that this is probably going to come in pretty handy here in about 15 or 20 minutes. So anyway, I'll let you go, and I'll come back and give an update. Just a quick update. I have this much left, not much, maybe another couple sips. And that gurgling in my stomach has now moved a little. Okay, so evidently that was the first wave. Not much. Small landing craft, if you will, trying to put it in perspective. But the one thing that I did not think ahead of, and I don't know if it's going to be needed, is to make sure that you have plenty of this. As a matter of fact, now that I remember, the office said to be sure to get a bag of baby wipes, as this could be a little rough. Maybe exfoliate a little bit more than what you're wanting. So I guess we'll see how that works out. Well, it's been about 4 hours since my last report, and I can tell you that a lot of fluid has moved through me. I do continue to drink water. I think that's pretty important. And as you can see, I'm in a different bathroom, so I've been able to be a little bit more mobile. During those times, though, I had an opportunity to scroll through Facebook, read several chapters in the Bible, and do a little praying as well. So far, everything seems to be slowing down. I just took 2 anti-gas pills, and I'll have to take 2 more here in about 20 minutes. I think as far as the waterworks are concerned, I think we're pretty much slowing down. So I feel confident in here another half hour or so that I will be able to go to bed and not worry about issues. So until then, we'll pick it up tomorrow morning. I'm going to get up. I'm supposed to take my next drink sometime around 6. I'll probably do about 5:30, 5:45 because I want to make sure that the waterworks stop so that I can get in the car and drive to the hospital without making several stops. But so far, all in all, it's not that bad of an experience. But tomorrow's just another day and we'll find out. So until then, good night. All right, it's day 2. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning, May 24th, the morning of my procedure. Last night wasn't bad. I mean, everything's liquefied and going good. The solution the second day is somewhat tolerable with a couple sips of water between swallows. I started drinking it at about 5:45 and finished it off just about 6 o'clock. So I did 16 ounces in 15 minutes. And that was just a matter of about 4 or 5 minutes before the second batch started to do its job. So looking forward to the procedure. I'm looking forward to get this over with. Things are working, and I pray that within the next 3.5, 4 hours that I will be done eliminating, so that the car ride from our house to the hospital, which is only about 20 minutes. I don't have to take any emergency breaks anywhere and use a bathroom that may not be the cleanest. So until then, we'll maybe have another update. Hopefully I'll get an opportunity to introduce you to the doctor. That's going to be my first. Well, we're about ready to be checked in. I got my chauffeur with me. And this is going to be a wonderful experience so far. The morning has been phenomenal. So we'll see you in a couple hours.
So the prep started. I was out. Just woke up. And I have no idea. Easy peasy, something anybody can do. I highly recommend men, women, when you get a certain age, gotta have one. Catch it before it turns into something big. I was lucky enough I have one polyp.
She's gonna get that one out.
I'll probably save it just to say hey. And I'll also be ordering plaques with a partial piece of my colon. Naturally, can't give away the whole colon. But we're really excited for it. This thing went amazing. Staff is very nice. I highly recommend this procedure. God bless. So it looks like I'm done. Not sure how long the procedure went. One small little medium polyp. Clipped it out. I'll have to ask if I can get that in a little jar. It's a paperweight. But great experience. probably just have to see me for another 5 years. So, it's good.
So, wasn't that pleasant? That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And so, what's interesting is so George talks about how much fun it was. And I will say, for those of you out there that are maybe weary of getting a colonoscopy, George had a fantastic time.
Good time. I don't remember much. And of course, the video, you just saw me coming right out of anesthesia. But the doctor was amazing. He was just a wonderful, wonderful guy. And of course, everybody, the hospital that I went to, everybody was great. And what was really nice is that the doctor himself actually called me personally. It was probably about 2 or 3 days later.
See how you're
and
doing?
Said, hey, listen, we found, up by my appendix, if from what I remember, that there's a little tiny one. He says, you know what, we're there. Let's go ahead and take it out. Now, you were just talking earlier about the virtual aspects of it. So
Yes.
the virtual is very non-intrusive, as you can imagine. You just probably lay there and they scan everything. But what happens if they find a polyp?
Then you have to go through the whole thing.
That's right. And of course, the prep just before was interesting because I drank a lot of fluids, and they didn't want any. I could do Jello, but nothing green or red.
Yeah, so he
I
drank
did
some chicken broth.
chicken broth.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember what kind of Jello. It was another.
Set up an office in our bathroom where he had himself a table,
And my
his Bible, and his phone, of course. So
I can call for help.
he just
Everything would
set up shop.
It was pretty interesting, just as the video kind of explains everything. But the one thing I will learn because I had a little tiny polyp, I have to go back in 5 years. So
Yep.
another 2 years. That's been 3 years now. So another 2 years I'll go back in. I would tell you the one thing for those of you that are planning on getting one, those of you that are contemplating, it's really not that bad. I mean, yeah, it takes out a whole day of your life, mostly because you're sitting on the toilet.
Get some wet wipes. Was that what you?
Baby wipes, yeah, baby wipes.
He was wishing he had that. I offered to go to the store, but
Well, I didn't know until the first night was okay. You're constantly wiping, and toilet paper. I don't care how soft they think it is. It's still made out of wood, so it's an exfoliant as well. But the next morning when I had to finish up that final bottle, it was pretty tender. So all I'm saying is.
wet ones.
Wet wipes, baby wipes, those kinds of things. And I would ask for the little bottles. I can't imagine drinking a whole gallon size full of that chalky stuff. But anyway, for me, it was a huge lift off my mind because in my family, let's see, colon cancer is taken. I know of at least one, possibly two of them. Now they weren't blood relatives, but they were married within my family. So.
Well, and you have cancer in your family now.
Yeah. So mom's had a little bout of it, and then my biological father died of cancer. His was more of not mistreatment, but just he wasn't willing to.
He didn't go in and get things checked. Yeah.
And which is why another reason for the podcast is get in and get it checked along with your skin. So because of that health fair, I also went in to make sure, because my mom deals with a little skin cancer, and of course they either freeze it, they burn it, or they cut it off. She's light skinned and she likes to be outside. I'm the same. I'm not necessarily light skinned, but I love being outside. I don't burn hardly anymore, but still, as I get older, I noticed that there are some changes in your skin. Sometimes you have a little dry spot, and or you have an unusual growth that older people get that they just freeze off. It's nothing bad, but. It's like Dixie was saying, we have a 20-month-old. Of course, even for my daughters, I'm not saying just for him, but for my daughters and for our 11 and 8-year-olds, I want to be around as long as I possibly can and be in somewhat of a help. So for us, we've really found that, and I think because of the colonoscopy, really is where we start thinking we need to take better care of ourselves, and that's getting screenings. So.
Yeah, and that's what I would say is just don't be afraid of it. I mean, we joke about it. Because I think with these serious things, you have to make them a little less serious to just deal with it and go on. One thing that I have learned for George's next colonoscopy is I will not allow him to have his cell phone back with him. While he was under anesthesia, he took some very comical videos.
As we just watched. That was all done by me. I'm sitting there.
Yeah, he didn't remember doing them. So a lot of these things that he documented for you, he really doesn't remember. Also, George is very well known in our community. And so as we're walking into the hospital, he knows everybody, right? Which is fine. That's fine. As we're leaving the hospital, unfortunately, he also knows everybody, which was not as fine because he was still fairly drugged up, and the things that were coming out of his mouth, he did say...
There was no filter.
That, no. And I'm trying to get him to stop talking to these very prominent folks walking in that I'm like, oh, no, just don't say anything. But he did keep telling everybody over and over again that was the best thing he's ever done. He had a great time. It was the best thing he had ever done. He was having a blast. He felt amazing.
And I think we stopped and got something didn't we
So
get Subway?
luckily for me, because George wasn't terribly awake. I mean, he was awake, but he was not real sturdy on his legs yet as they were taking him out of the hospital.
Yeah, they got the wheelchair treatment.
A very awesome male nurse helped us out, got him into the car for me,
Cedric.
which was great. Yes, Cedric, he was fantastic.
Great guy.
The unfortunate piece was once we got home, I had to get him out by myself. So I stopped at Subway so I could leave him in the car.
I think I got a chopped salad.
No, I don't remember what you got, but I know that I went in, I got the food, I came back out, he was sleeping. We got home, which is not too far. I got him out, he wanted to eat outside. So we got him out onto the front patio where he ate and fell asleep. And then I had to get him into the house. I think he then slept the rest of the day on the couch. But he didn't remember eating. He didn't remember going to Subway. Now, I could have done all kinds of things to him. He wouldn't have known.
And she does that anyway when I'm asleep, I'm sure. But anyway.
So, anyway, yeah, it wasn't...
So our message is...
It's not as traumatic as you think it's going to be. I know that one thing is they did say that they were going to try to keep you awake through most of it.
Oh.
And because he said that he felt a little something, they went ahead and just put him out. So he was not uncomfortable at any point in time.
Yeah, that is interesting. They put you on the gurney and they have you laying on your side and, with your knee up. And I could see the monitor. So he said, hey, if you want to watch, we're going to have it on the monitor. But he says, but if we see that you're in any kind of discomfort, he goes, well, we'll put you under. And I can remember laying there, and he says, okay, you're going to feel a little pressure. And I was out. I was done. I don't remember. I mean, I wasn't in any pain, nothing. But so I was kind of disappointed that I didn't get
to watch.
You know what? I should see if they have that. I wonder if they would send that to me.
Oh,
and we'll
probably.
put that on as a podcast.
I'm sure
Here's
everybody would love to
Here's the
see
camera view of
that side of you.
Well, I would like to see what the polyp looks like. I mean, it was really tiny, but they never did give it to me.
No.
So it's not a paperweight anywhere, and I didn't get a plaque either.
Oh, darn.
Anyway, do your screenings, preventative maintenance.
Yeah, take care of yourself so you can be around for your family.
Yeah.
I know that skin cancer runs in my family. I've had a very close family member, again, not blood related, pass away from colon cancer. So it really is something that we take seriously. So just get it done. As unpleasant as it might seem, it's way better than the alternative. So
and send us messages. You can get a hold of us on our website. Contact at dixieandtheking.com. You can also when you go to our YouTube channel, Dixie and the King. You can, I hope you like the videos. Always like those things. Put a little heart. And we always like to hear from you. So don't be afraid to add a little message. We have a couple of them that are consistent on adding messages. We'd love to hear from you. And, of course, love to hear about any future podcast ideas that you'd like to hear. We still have to do our date. We had a couple of podcasts back where we're going to do dates. And I'm supposed to
haven't done that yet.
Oh, well, that's coming up. It's just been so busy.
Yeah, we're working on that. We've got volleyball and dance and gymnastics and all these things happening right now, but we are working on that. We would also love to hear from you. We're new at this and we just want to get better. So things that you like that we do, things that you would like us to see improve on. We're open to any of that. So,
Yeah.
let us know what you think. If there's something that you want to hear from us, a topic you want us to cover, please send us a message. And if you send us something, we are happy to do a shout out on our next podcast.
That's worth thousands of dollars.
Thousands of dollars.
And also when you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. That really helps us out.
It does.
But I like all that feedback. Please give us some feedback, what you like, what you don't like. And we got a lot of new subscribers, a lot of people that tune in really like our show. So that's really encouraging. Dixie, before we say goodbye, tell us about some future podcasts I think that we're working on that are going to be really cool.
Yeah, so we are working on one to bring light to dyslexia. It's something very near and dear to our hearts in the last year. And we have a very special young lady who is a singer. Her name is Lacey Joe, and she's going to join us along with the executive director of Bridging the Gap Dyslexia Center. And I believe...
she's a recording artist in the
yes,
country western, so really
and so
excited.
I'm really excited to have her on. I think she's doing something with the Greeley Stampede this year. So super excited. And I think we might also have another very special young guest to talk about dyslexia and their journey through this.
She kind of diagnosed it herself.
Yeah, so we're really excited about that.
We won't tell you who it is. So very, very special.
Very special, at least in my heart. So another one that we have going is I'm getting ready to compete in my first fitness competition in 5 years. So one lady that has just inspired me, her name is Eileen, and she has just the most amazing story on overcoming obstacles and health issues.
Isn't she?
She is a fitness pro, and so I'm really excited to talk to her. So we do have some exciting things coming up.
Just as a tease, here's a picture of Dixie when she was performing, and this was when was this?
2016.
2000. So that's been 5 years.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's been a minute, so.
Yeah, but she's been doing all of her dieting and all that kind of fun stuff. We'll get in and we'll start following that up as well. So, anyway, we want to thank you so much for joining us, and we also want to thank castcontentmedia.com for providing the studio and the lights and all that kind of fun stuff. And then don't forget, you can find us on our website,
DixieandtheKing.com,
and our YouTube channel,
Dixie and the King,
Spotify, TuneIn, Rumble.
All those favorite podcast platforms.
Hey, Alexa, play DixieandtheKing.com. No, just Dixie and the King.
Just Dixie and the King.
And it'll play. So, until next time, God bless.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Dixie and the King. We know there are possibly millions of podcasts out there, and we really appreciate you landing on ours.
We'd love to hear back from you with suggestions, episode ideas, and possible guests. If you'd like to connect to our guests, we would love to share their contact info with you.
Feel free to tell a friend and share our podcast with them.
To learn more and watch past podcasts, please visit our website, DixieandtheKing.com.